Hi everyone, it's Jess with Kinder Stample, and today we're going to work on a really fun card using a technique called paper piecing. And basically what it is it's a fun way of using your stamps where you stamp on different colors of scrap papers and layer them on to create the stamped effect without having to color your stamps. So this is a quick way of using some stamp sets that you have lying around that you normally wouldn't use as often because you feel you need to color them, but in this case we're going to be using our pattern papers and our scraps to create it, so you'll see how easy it is to use these types of stamp sets without having to use your Copics or your markers or your chalks. So let me just put this over to the side and I'll show you the products that we're going to be using and the different cuts of paper. The first things we're going to need are a few sheets of paper, and the first one is going to be the base of the card, and this one is going to be 4 1/4 by 11.5 inch paper. So it's just a regular piece of cardstock cut in half, and I've gone ahead and scored it, so it's going to be a top folding card. The next thing we're going to need is the bases for the flower. So you're going to need a 1 3/4 inch by 2 3/4 inch piece of white cardstock, and then a 1 1/2 by 2 1/2 piece of craft cardstock. The next items you're going to need are 2 pieces of coordinating pattern paper. In this case, I've cut them at 1 1/2 by 4 1/4 and at 2 by 4 1/4. Then you're going to need a piece of white cardstock for your border punch, and this one's cut at 1 by 4 1/4. And then you're going to need 3 pieces of scraps that are coordinated. So in this case, I'm using this green and this blue and this gingham colored that has the 3 colors in it. So very, very, very pretty colors that we wouldn't normally use, but work really, really well together. So let's put this to the side and show you the products that I'm going to be using. For this card, I'm going to be featuring the Unity Stamp Company Treasure to Me stamp set. Has really beautiful stamps, a lot of detail in the packaging, but again, this is one of those stamps that I would normally color and I don't use as often, but because now I'm using the paper piecing technique, I will be using this a lot more often. So really beautiful stamp set that will get a lot of use now with this new technique. I'm also going to be using some Hallmark Zap Dots. You guys know how much I love these little Zap Dots. I'm going to use my Westcott scissor, and this one's a really fine tip scissor that works really well to cut your paper piecing pieces. We're going to use the Martha Stewart doily punch for the border, the Tim Holtz Distress Ink in Vintage Photo. We're going to use a distressing tool, a clear acrylic block. We're going to use Ink Essentials Enamel Accents in white to create some faux pearls. We're going to use the Hallmark Permanent Tape Runner, the Hallmark Acid Free Glue, and we're going to use Memento Tuxedo Black Ink. So let's get started. We're going to go ahead and start with making the base of the card, which is basically the vase. So you're going to need these 3 stamps for this case, and it's the flower stamp, the vase, and just your sentiment, but we won't be using this one just yet, so I'll set it over to the side. You're going to go ahead and grab your acrylic block and your ink. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to place, I'm just going to be using the flower portion of this, so just to save some paper, I'm putting it over by the corner of my block, and I'm just going to ink that part of it. So let's go ahead and just ink the flower portion of this card, and then I'm just going to place it on here lightly. So there we go. we have the flower printed on here. We'll set this one over to the side. We're going to go ahead and take our vase and again ink it lightly into the Memento ink and just press it onto this patterned blue paper. And there we go. Now we have the vase. Really pretty. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and stamp this once again onto the green paper. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to go ahead and cut out the little leaves in green. So I'm just going to grab a piece of scrap paper and put it underneath here, because I just want to try to ink up the leaf portion of it. So we'll do it like this. And there we go. So now I have the two little leaves. And then one thing we're going to do also is we're going to grab the little craft base, and we're going to use the full flower for this case. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of position the flower on this piece of craft so that we know where we're going to place the items once we cut them out. So I'm just doing the flower portion of it, and I'm going to put it as high to the top as possible. And there we go. And it doesn't have to be a perfect print because we're going to be covering it up with the paper piecing. So let me go ahead and cut these out, and then I'll show you how I put it together. So now that I've gone ahead and finished cutting out my pieces with my Westcout scissor, we're going to go ahead and put this card together. So let's put these three little pieces over to the side. And I'm going to use my my Helmer acid-free glue for this. Works really, really well. And just so you guys know, sometimes when we cut paper piecing, sometimes we, if it's a flower, you don't really remember where the top and the bottom is. So it's really, really a good idea to just put a little dot on the back. I don't know if you guys can see it. And this tells me that this little petal will always be positioned on the bottom portion of the image. So it just makes it easier for me to put it back on here without having to kind of guess where it should go. That's just a really quick tip. So I'll just go ahead and put some glue on here. And this acid-free glue works really, really well. It doesn't wrinkle your papers, and if you put it really close to the actual paper, it'll just put a really light coat of glue on it. So just like this, I'm just spreading it on. And now I'm going to go ahead and take my flower, and I'm going to look for the little dots. See, I almost did it the wrong way. And this is the bottom, so I'll put this on there. And then just press lightly onto there to make sure that it's adhered perfectly. So there goes that portion. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere my two little leaves. So just going to put a little bit of glue here and a little bit of glue on the other side. Grab my two leaves. These are really tiny, so let's see if I can get them up. In this case, you probably want to use your tweezer. It probably would make it easier, but this works just as well too if you don't have a tweezer. So there we go. And now I'm going to go ahead and adhere my vase. So just put a little bit of glue on the back. And you probably could use your tape runner for this case as well, but I'm just going to continue to use my acid-free glue. And then there we go. So we positioned the vase, the flower, and the petal. And I'll just raise it so you guys can see how pretty that looks. Very vintagey colors, so I think it looks really, really sweet. We'll put this over to the side. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Tim Holtz Distress ink in Vintage Photo. And I'm going to take that background paper that we're going to put behind this space. I'm just going to ink it up. Just ink it up a little bit. This is really easy to do. This tool works really, really well for this purpose. So just ink the background like that. And then you're going to turn this piece around put a little bit of tape with your tape runner, and you're going to pick it up and just place it right here. So now our image is complete. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take the base of your card, and you're going to go ahead and fold it in half and score it. And now I'm just going to make sure it's nicely folded. I'm going to take this blue pattern paper, and again just take my tape runner and put some adhesive on the back and place this on the very top of the card. There we go. The next thing I'm going to do is this little scallop border I'm also going to be putting on here, and I wanted to stress a little, so you may not need to ink your pad anymore because there is probably some ink left over, so just go ahead and distress the border like that. Just really simple little detail you add to it. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on here and adhere this second piece of pattern paper right above it, because this is going to, the border is going to go below this pattern paper, so you want to make sure that you've adhered it before you position it on your card. So there we go. And now we'll just use our tape runner again and place this portion of it on the card. So you see how quick this card can be made? There. So we're almost done. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your Memento ink and tuxedo block, and of course you can use any color for this. Put your stamp on the acrylic block, and then just press lightly into the ink. See, now it's nicely coated. And we're just going to put the sentiment right on the bottom right of this card, like this. So there we go. So now our sentiment is on there. And I'll just show you how pretty it is. This is a really nice inspirational card. If your friend's having a bad day, it just says giggle and the meaning of giggle. So it's just a fun note card to give to your friends. Then I'll go ahead and take my Hallmark Zap Dots, and I'm just going to go put 2 on the back of my image. These are super sticky, and I really love the fact that they're black because you don't see them when you place them on your cards, so they look really great. We'll put this on here over to the left, like that. Make sure it's not crooked. Okay, there we go. And then, just to finish it off, there's this little dot in the center of the flower, and I'm going to go ahead and use my enamel accents in white to create a faux pearl. So you're just going to put it in the center and just press out until there's a perfect circle, like that. And there we go. It's as simple as that. So now I have 2 really pretty cards that I made really quickly just using a really fun paper piecing technique. So I hope you guys enjoyed this card, and I look forward to sharing some more techniques with you. Thanks for watching.